Well, a battle is raging between preserving wildlife and a way of life. U.S. Fish and Wildlife wants to designate nearly 400,000 acres in Idaho and Washington as critical habitat for the woodland caribou.
But many people are worried that it will have a crippling effect on the local economy. It's an issue of trust and who to really believe. KXLY4's Anusha Roy joins us live, and Anusha, seems like people are really heated up about this issue.
Yeah, well, I traveled across the Panhandle talking to people's concerns from logging to snowmobiling, and a majority of this proposed critical habitat falls in North Idaho, and it is to protect one of the 3 types of woodland caribou called the mountain caribou. It's a way of life, venturing into the forest, spending hours on end harvesting timber, supporting families, and a community.
Every one of those guys over there have a family here. Their kids have grown up and went through our school system. It's small America. It's rural.
Second-generation logger Tom Faust says the key to his survival is logging. But it's being threatened by an animal that's endangered itself.
But if we keep putting on caribou habitat, another 375,000 acres here, grizzly bear, wolves, lynx, sturgeon, we can't take many more hits in Boundary County to the point where we just aren't going to have a mill.
As loggers fight to survive, so do the southern Selkirk mountain caribou. There are only around 45 left, traveling back and forth between British Columbia and North Idaho and Washington. They're so rare, we spent an afternoon in these mountains and never saw a sign of one. This video by Idaho Fish and Game captures the rare animal on camera.
There are very few caribou. That's why this animal is endangered. That's why it needs our protections. And that's why it needs our management.
This type of caribou was listed endangered in 1983. They stand at around 4 feet tall and about 6 feet long. Over the years, they suffered from logging, wildfires, and road development. Now U.S. Fish and Wildlife is proposing designating a critical habitat that has met with fierce resistance in North Idaho.
I think they're going to find that the power of the people is much stronger than the people in power.
It's pitting wildlife against the local economy.
Here we go again.
The proposed critical habitat spans around 375,000 acres, touching Boundary and Bonner County in Idaho and Pend Oreille County in Washington. We flew over the Selkirk Mountains to show what habitat would be protected. It includes this spot right near the Canadian border where caribou were spotted just a few weeks ago. It's important to protect large contiguous old-growth forest where the caribou food lichen grows. Caribou also need large areas to survive so predators cannot find them. Fish and Wildlife says restricting vehicles and snowmobiling in certain areas is crucial. But opponents say those activities help drive the economy.
This is the major winter activity in that area. People come up and spend the night, buy gas, buy meals, and as well as ride and enjoy the outdoors and see a lot of wildlife. This would go away.
Bonner County Commissioner Mike Nielsen wants to protect jobs and income in his county. He's worried protecting the caribou will mean threatening snowmobile trails.
Because we, the county, has to get a permit from the state and the federal government, U.S. Forest Service, in order to be able to snowmobile groom those trails for the snowmobile riders. So that could be easily prohibited. And that's the biggest fear and the threat for the people that live in that area.
But U.S. Fish and Wildlife says that's not their intention at all.
The places that people snowmobile today with the restrictions that are currently in place are the places they're going to be able to snowmobile tomorrow if critical habitat for caribou is designated.
Take a close look at this map again. The red outlines the proposed critical habitat. The green is where there's already an existing recovery zone for the woodland caribou because it's an endangered animal.
I understand folks' angst with this proposed designation because they see it as another federal regulation that's being imposed on their ability to access the land. But in this case, it really is a redundant regulation.
In fact, much of this forest is already protected under different measures. The purple on this map shows where snowmobiling is already restricted except on groomed paths. For years, loggers have faced some restrictions within old-growth forest. Fish and Wildlife does not expect any more restrictions because of the critical habitat. The problem is many people are just not willing to trust them.
The folks from Bonners Ferry to Priest Lake, I've attended both meetings, are very, very upset with this.
Right now, land within the recovery zone is protected from 4,500 feet and higher in Idaho. Under the proposed critical habitat, that could drop to 4,000 feet. this could potentially impact loggers because of different boundaries. But Fish and Wildlife says a lot of old growth is already off limits by the U.S. Forest Service.
I just don't believe that. It will impact us. Anytime you take out, now that you're looking at 375,000 acres or whatever that number is in the end, it's going to impact us.
So if Fish and Wildlife says there shouldn't be many changes, why even propose a critical habitat?
Because the law requires us to do that. This is a provision that's embedded within the Endangered Species Act.
Fish and Wildlife could have designated this habitat back in the 80s, but didn't out of fear hunters would find and poach the caribou. By 2002, conservation leagues and wildlife groups started demanding the designation.
At the time the caribou was listed, the population was estimated to be around 25 animals. So it's improved considerably, but it's still not at a point where it's safe.
Conservation groups finally sued the federal government, forcing Fish and Wildlife to look again at the critical habitat. The agency has collected a lot of public comment about their plan. One thing they've heard, it's an awful lot of sacrifice for a few caribou.
Maybe right now it's some of the southern areas who don't see caribou today, but it wasn't long ago there was some, and who knows? Maybe this winter, next winter, or the winter after that, there'll be caribou back there again.
It boils down to trust.
To try to get them to understand that this particular regulation, this designation of critical habitat, is not going to result in any further restrictions, requires, from their perspective, a leap of faith. Like, oh, we trust you.
He'll drop that in there.
Tom Faust says that trust is hard to come by, because while he understands the caribou could soon be a thing of the past, he worries loggers could be too.
How did one person say it? There is enough resources for man's needs, but there is not for man's greed. And that's why all of us that are into Timber Ridge, we want to be good stewards of the land and watch our wildlife benefit greatly from this, you know what I mean? And we can work side by side with the animals here. There's not a problem, trust me, there's not a problem.
Now, another concern people have are about predators in the area and how the caribou will survive. I want to mention again, this is a proposal, and a final decision about the designation is supposed to be made later this year.
Anusha, is there a discrepancy in the number of caribou that cross into the U.S.?
That's interesting because we heard so many people that we were talking to across the Panhandle saying, a lot of them don't even come into the U.S. So when we posed that question to Fish and Wildlife, they say, you can't really say that. Maybe there are more caribou that are in the U.S. than we know of. It's kind of how you count them as well. And the bottom line is they're not trying to manage what number we're at now. They're trying to grow that population.
Gotcha. All right, Anusha, thanks so much. Appreciate that story. Really interesting stuff.